Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelly, and today we're just going to be speaking about Goodreads just a bit, because if you have been on BookTube or Book Talk in the last few weeks, then you've obviously or probably heard about the Goodreads Choice Awards 2024, or even their most read books list of the last 5 years. Something along those lines. You might have come across it. Whether you engage with it or not, that's on you. But you might have come across it. Now, me personally, I haven't made a video about who I voted for, if they won, la di da di da, because I did not vote. I did not partake. I haven't partook in the Goodreads Choice Awards because I've thrown Goodreads away. I've thrown it out the window, and I have done so for quite a while now. I even made a video a while back on why I've ditched Goodreads for another app. But I think that video was definitely in my earlier days. It might have been a bit clunky, weird. Not weird, but just not as great. But I spoke about Goodreads app itself, but not about the Goodreads Choice Awards. I definitely made a very short video on the Goodreads Choice Awards last year, I believe, and why I was done with Goodreads and their awards. But I think I should give a bit more context, like a longer video, because I was on TikTok, so that was about 60 seconds. But I should definitely give a bit more information on why I didn't vote, why I'm not gonna vote, and why I don't use the app at all, to be fair. That being said, I'm just going to preface this with the fact that Goodreads is a very popular book rating app. Therefore, as a book reviewer, sometimes I am asked to post a review on the app. And because I recognize that the platform itself is still the most powerful, the largest book rating, book reviewing platform there is, I recognize that reviewing an author's book can help an author, especially if they are an indie author. And so while I've ditched the app, while I don't regularly engage with it, I don't care for it, if I can help an author in that way by giving them a review, obviously if I genuinely enjoyed the book, then I will do so. But I will also post a review on platforms that I genuinely like. So at least the platforms that I support will also get that good review. But I want, first and foremost, especially if you haven't watched the last video I made on Goodreads and while I stopped using the app, obviously do go and watch it. But if you choose not to, I'm just going to give a few of the reasons as to why I've ditched it. Not even a few, like literally a couple. First and foremost, that app sucks. Truly, we just have to lay it out there. The app sucks, guys. The algorithm is absolutely trash. It's clunky. It's so hard to use. I've had Goodreads for years, like genuine years. And up to the point where I stopped using it, I couldn't comprehend how to use it. The other day, I had to use it to give a review. And when I tell you, I was so lost. It hasn't been that long that I've not used you, but I'm so confused. I don't know how to get around. It is absolutely terrible. Goodreads hasn't had a significant user interface overhaul since Amazon acquired it. And when was that? I think that was like 2013, 2014, just about, like years ago, absolute years ago. And it's so old-fashioned, whereas these new apps have more sleek, more modern, more user-friendly interfaces. Goodreads is just out here like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we're just like, bruh, when was it ever fixed? Like, when was it ever not broke? It's just bad. Like, please. The user interface is trash. It's poor. It's absolutely garbage. That is the very first reason where I'm just like, please, absolutely not. I can't deal with it anymore. It sucks. Now that we've gotten that first point out of the way, one of the other reasons why we don't like Goodreads is its rating system. Its rating system is actually it's not helpful at all. Goodreads uses the 5-star rating system, and obviously that is a very normal rating system that we have all been accustomed to for most of our lives. That's very true. But for years, genuine years, people have been asking for half stars, just half stars, half. There are other platforms that don't just do half, they do quarter stars and everything. we were just asking Goodreads to give us half stars. You know what? Just give us an inch. We know other apps, they've gone a mile for us, but we just want an inch on Goodreads. Goodreads, still with them 5 stars. Still with them 5 stars. You can't vote to give a book 4.5 stars. And as readers, I feel like we all understand that 4.5 stars is really different from a 5-star book. And that's one of the reasons we want the point system, the point star system. It is necessary because a 3-star is different from a 3.5, is different from a 4, is different from a 4.5. And which is why even the quarter star system is absolutely essential, because a 4.25 is different from a 4.5 and a 4.75. It's completely different. You do not get to adequately express how you feel about a book because of that rating system. And I know it's really something small, like it's a rating, right? But there are certain books where you're just like, this is not a perfect book to me. It's not a 5-star to me. But it's not a 4-star because I feel like it's better than a 4-star. But I can't give it higher except a 5-star. But I still don't think it's perfect. And so you feel as if you're doing a disservice by giving the book either star. I've definitely felt like that, like before when I used to use Goodreads. Because to me, especially how I rate 5-star books, and I know people flex how they give their ratings, but I think most of us agree that a 5-star is immaculate upon immaculate. It is beyond reach of perfection. It is something that you cannot change anything in because it is absolutely beyond. There are even books that are beyond 5 stars, but you can only give them 5 stars, okay? But a 5-star is utter perfection. You cannot describe how you feel about that book. And to me, when I rate a book 5 stars, it means that the book was not just critically amazing. It didn't just have a great plot, a great story. It didn't just have great characters. It didn't just have good character development. It didn't just have everything right, from the line writing to the structure to the grammar. It's that it hit me in the heart, which is why certain books, even though structurally, critically, you are absolutely amazing, if you didn't have that that touched me in my heart, I can't give you a 5-star, but I'll give you a 4.75. The rating system, when it comes to reading books, is it's so essential to the reader experience, because you need to accurately and adequately rate how you feel about that book, where you feel that book lies. And I think as readers, we all understand a 5-star. We understand what it means. We understand what it means. Some people will definitely rate books just from the actual technical viewpoint, from the technical standpoints, as in your grammar was great, line by line writing was great, everything in the book was great. Some people will do that, whereas a lot of people, let's be real, we will do all of that important stuff, all that technical stuff, and we add the feelings to get to the 5 stars. And to not be able to properly express that in something as simple as a rating, where people have been requesting that you change it. So sorry, there's nothing to be done. There's nothing to be done. And I think a platform that refuses to actually take on the reviews of its users is trash. It's trash. They don't care about you. They don't care about you, because it's known as user interface, right? How is the user experience? I guarantee you there's no such thing in Goodreads headquarters. Absolutely not. They don't give a heck about you, because truly the user experience means bupkis to them. They do not care. Because if they did, they would change that, because that is one of the top requests for the app. It's been one of the top requests for the app for years. It's been a consistent request for years, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Even the way they do shells. I know people say you can add your own custom-made shells on the Goodreads app. That's great. That's great. That's great. But how about they add the shells for us? There are certain shells that should just be added. Goodreads don't care. Goodreads don't care. Goodreads don't care. I think if you don't care, I shouldn't care either, which is why I had no qualms about ditching Goodreads. I had no qualms, because you don't give a damn about me. I don't got to give a damn about you either. And how about we speak about the poor recommendation algorithm? Now, I just realized I haven't actually said which app I moved to. I moved to Storygraph, which is absolutely amazing, because Storygraph has the point system. They have 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, which is really, really helpful. Absolutely amazing. And I think one of the biggest differences between Goodreads and Storygraphs is their recommendations, how they do the recommendations. Goodreads you get recommended books because of popularity and popularity alone, which you if you've read long enough, you just know that it's not helpful. Especially if you've been reading in recent years, you just know that the popular books don't hit. I'm so sorry, they don't hit. Like, a lot of the books get hype, they have hype and nothing more, because you got hype and no plot. Like, genuinely, some popular books are popular for a reason. They actually are great books, but some of you, trash, garbage. Storygraph, on the other hand, they use AI technology. And I know some people are half and half with AI, but I think using AI in the way that they have is really, really good, because what they've done is, obviously, when you first join Storygraph, you can actually connect your, not connect, but you can connect your Goodreads so that they can pull your reading into the app, so that you don't have to individually add what you've read in the past before, so that they can just have your history from Goodreads automatically added into the app. And with that, what's really good about that is then they use your past books and the past ratings for your books to then recommend books. So they see what you've liked in the past and they recommend you books based on your likes. What I love about that is, obviously, if you know me, you know my TBR is longer than long, as in, like, it's thousands of books long. It's sad that I won't get to, chances are I won't get to read all the books that I want to read in this lifetime. It's sad, but I've accepted it. But I have books going back decades, and obviously the book's coming out soon, but we'll speak about that on another video. But yeah, I have books that I want to read, and obviously a lot of the books that I've heard of and that I want to read are books that have been popular. They've gotten traction, so of course I've heard of them and want to read them. But with the Storygraph algorithm, what it does is that it just scours their database of books. And what's so amazing about that is I am now finding books that I would have never heard of. Definitely not on Goodreads, because they only push out the popular books. So many books, I'm just like, wow, I've never heard of this, and it sounds amazing. It definitely sounds like my cup of tea. And of course, Storygraph would know it's my cup of tea, because they've analyzed the past books I've read and that I've liked. And that's what's so amazing about it. Another thing that I really like about it is the fact that you can add books on the app. You just put in the ISBN number, or you can put in the data manually, and they'll add the book for you. And that's why they have such a large database of obviously well-known books, but also books that aren't well-known that now other people would probably have access to and will now hear of. And I think that's so cool. That's so cool, especially when you have obscure books by the indie authors and such, to be able to add those books so other people can find it, but also so that obviously you can rate books that you're reading that are a bit obscure. That's so much better. And it's just so convenient. And of course, do Goodreads allow it? No, because they suck. And there's a bit of this one thing, and I'm not surprised with Goodreads because of this. Obviously, an app that doesn't care about their users won't care if their users are being harassed. The moderation on Goodreads is poor. I'm not even sure they have moderation on there. You can really just say anything you want on there. One of my first videos that got a bit of traction on BookTube is where I spoke about the Goodreads review bombing scandal. And you know what? To be able to do nonsense like that, I feel like it's only Goodreads that would allow it. I'm so sorry. Definitely Goodreads that would allow it. They don't have moderation on that app at all. You can say anything, bro. You can literally say anything. You can harass everybody on that app freely. And with the lack of moderation, there's also that unfairness that doesn't allow new authors to ever get any hype, because the more popular authors will a lot of times even get ratings before their books are released. So you get like a flooding of 5-star ratings before books even release, which makes it unfair, because obviously they go up the rankings. And obviously with the book bombing thing, it was possible because before the book was even released, someone was able to then 1-star review a book that hadn't even been released yet, without them proving that they were a verified reader. Because obviously some people get irked, and obviously so they put their review out before the book comes out. But without even verifying that this person has read the book, a book that has yet to be released, they could drop a bunch of 1-star reviews, tanking that book before it even gets a chance to go out into the world. The lack of moderation on that app is absolutely insane. And it doesn't help, because it's hurting authors, and it's also hurting readers, because they won't get a chance to see a bunch of great books, but also, once again, you can be harassed on that app. Authors can be harassed on the app. It's terrible. And obviously, one of the main reasons that people obviously don't care for Goodreads is obviously because it's owned by Amazon, and Amazon is set on monopolizing the literature world. If you don't know, like they're trying to buy up everything. Obviously, they have Audible, which, fair, it is a good audiobook platform. I'll give it to them. But anytime there's any other competitor, they try to monopolize the market, so that competitor has to shut down, has to close, so that they can't thrive, and that they basically have the entire market and so can make a bunch of profits, which is terrible for us as consumers, because then they dominate prices. If they own the entire market in audiobooks, ebooks, bookstores, like, they can literally just say, I can charge you £60, and you can't do anything because you can't get it from anywhere else. Which is why obviously we're so grateful that there are other apps out there, there are other platforms out there that are giving us options. But one of the reasons, Goodreads kind of sucks is that you're owned by the terror, which is Amazon. And obviously, being owned by the terror, which is Amazon, means that like data and privacy is kind of a because like it's known for being a data black hole where you enter your data and who knows where the heck that is going into. And obviously, back in the day where we've all signed up for Goodreads and stuff like that, we were young and we didn't really care. We didn't care about Amazon and its monopoly and it's crazy. And so we didn't care about it. But the more the world is becoming data centric, the more we start to remember that we gave our data to this chaos, and it's not the best. Goodreads isn't too cute. It isn't too cute at all. And like, even with that, like I said, the user experience is genuinely bad. It always has bugs, it's always crashing. And there's even that annoying factor of the search engine. You put in the book that you want and you get a bunch of unrelated books just popping up. It's genuinely the most chaotic thing ever. Guys, if you want a good experience for a reading system, like Goodreads is not the place to go. There are other places. I obviously love Storygraph, but I know that there are other places as well. I believe Fable is one that is really, really popular. I believe Fable is Fable is more social. So if you definitely want more of a community, Fable might be for you. I haven't used it, so I can't comment, but this is what I heard people are saying. And the community on Goodreads also sucks. That you might want to try that as well. But I don't want to focus this video on that. I know I've spent a lot of time on it, but I just had to tell you guys like how just terrible it is. Honestly, if you're on Goodreads, you should leave. It sucks. But let's speak about the Goodreads Choice Awards and why that also sucks. Guys, the Goodreads Choice Awards, for those of you who don't know, obviously Goodreads is a book rating app, book reviewing app, whatever. And so they've been doing the Choice Awards every year, which obviously is literary awards where people vote and a book wins, and different categories based on genre, and every year a few books win. Now, just like the app itself, people have been complaining about the awards and the award system for years to no avail. Like, there has been no improvement. I swear, if you send anything to Goodreads, I guarantee that is just going into a bin, because I feel like they're not getting anything that we're saying, or they don't have an actual office of people who are getting these reviews and sending them to anywhere. They're not doing anything, which means they obviously do not care, or they obviously do not get them. 100%, that's what I believe. Now, let us go down list by list the errors or the problems with the awards. Now, I needed to collect my thoughts, so I wrote all of them down so I would be sure not to miss anything. So I'm gonna be going back and forth with my notes to ensure that I've just captured everything that I want to say. First and foremost, and I think this is where everyone is just frustrated. The awards, they are a popularity contest. They are a popularity contest rather than being a reflection of critical success or really just literary perfection. It's just a popularity contest. A book which is most popular, the author which is most popular, usually wins the award, which is why in whichever category Coho, Colleen Hoover, or S.J. Moss are in, they usually win that category, even if their books suck, which chances are they might, probably will. I don't read them that much, so I can't say much to it. But even if their books aren't bad, usually there are books in the same category with them, which clearly surpass them in terms of quality, but in terms of popularity, no. and therefore they usually win. It's a popularity contest, and at that point, what's the point of the awards? What's the point of the awards, truly? Because we love to think of literature or the publishing industry as a meritocracy, but things like the Goodreads Choice Awards proves that, let's be real, a lot of the time it's not. It is popularity, it is connection, and that sucks. That really, really sucks. Because truly, it's a point of hype machine. Because the awards basically promote popular authors, or when publishers are then hyping up celebrity authors or their most selling authors instead of a quality author who wrote a quality book. A hype machine wins at all points in time. And yeah, it's not fair. And I feel so sad for an author who would have written an amazing book and wouldn't even get considered because like they're new or they're just not as popular as Coho or SJ Moss. Another thing with the awards is, and I think this is not just a Goodreads awards thing, it's definitely awards thing in general, the fact that mid-year releases have an advantage because the awards are obviously at the end of the year. And so books that were released earlier on in the year, especially with the attention span of these people, like, they're forgotten. People don't consider books that were released in January the 8th. No. By the time June hits, people have forgotten. And so they're just like, was this book even released this year? And yeah, it's kind of an unfair thing. But like I said, I think that's more for awards in general because they need to find a better system for doing that. Maybe do it in half-year scrimmage because I don't feel like that works to anyone's benefit if you are released before the mid-year. Like beginning of the year, you're finished. You're genuinely finished unless you really had like a blow and everyone is still talking about your book all the way to December. Unless that's you, and obviously that's very, very rare, then it's just an unfair competition for you. And another point, which, once again, I'm just like, the Goodreads, I'm like, who started this is bad, is that there's clear bias for more mainstream genres. For example, more niche genres will not get the hype, they will not get the attention, and books in that category definitely are not benefiting because it will most likely once again be the popular books in that genre or just the first book that they can find. Genres like literary fiction obviously are not as popular, and even I don't read that much literary fiction, but that doesn't mean that it should be disregarded because, come on, everything should get a fair shot, right? But no, there is a bias towards obviously romance, fantasy, romantasy, thriller. Those categories are the ones where all the focus is going to be put on, and that's just not fair, especially for the indie authors who definitely write in. There are a lot of indie authors in the more niche categories, which is really, really cool, but then there's nothing to be done for you, and that's unfortunate. And definitely, you don't have to be as popular sometimes, and that's for series. Obviously, if you are on the third book of your series, over the years, you will have now established a fan base. And so chances are whoever's up against you, they'll struggle, especially if it's their first book, if it's their only book. It's going to be hard for them. So there's definitely a series, not a bias, but there's more chances for a book that is in a series. And that's, once again, unfair. And I still think that that's a general awards thing that should be looked at. But the Goodreads Awards, if they're not going to fix the other things, they're not going to fix this one either. Now, with all of this happening, the awards often lack surprises. Because, like I said, if a popular author releases a book that year, chances are that author will win in whichever category they're in. If Coho releases a book this year, because I honestly did not check the categories at all. I did not even participate. I did not care. But if she had released a book this year, she would have been the winner of her romance category because she usually writes romance. If S.J. Moss had released a book this year, she would have won that category in fantasy because she usually writes fantasy, obviously. That's a fact. I'm so sorry. She would have won. And guys, that's just, even disregarding the fact that it's a popularity contest, it's just boring. It's absolutely boring. Why have an award ceremony where you don't even have to glance in the direction, you don't even have to bite your fingers and hope, you just know, bruh, you're gonna lose. You just know that person's gonna win. That is just so boring. Why would anyone even sign up or tune in or go onto the website to check? They just know who's gonna win, and that's boring as heck. No one's gonna sign up for that. Why would you not improve? Honestly, like, everything they do sucks. I'm telling you, Goodreads belongs in the bin. Now, the next point about the awards that I can't wrap my head around this, about how this is still going on and people haven't like called them out more for it, because the awards is trash. And that is the fact that Goodreads pre-selects nominees, which limits visibility for indie books. Like, we've spoken about how indie books are truly at a disadvantage with so many things on Goodreads and really in the literary world, in the publishing industry on a whole. But the Goodreads thing is hilarious. Like, they pre-select the nominees and they don't reveal how they select them. There's no transparency. It could really just be a case of the Goodreads committee is friends with a popular author and they're on there. There's no transparency. What point system is used? How do you select who goes on the list for which category? Are you looking at sales? Are you looking at TikTok views? Like, are you looking at Goodreads views? How are the nominees chosen? We do not know. It's a terrible choice system. Terrible choice system. But the fact that we don't know makes sense to me, because I'm just like, truly, I think however they're choosing it is probably the most unethical, trash method of choosing nominees. Because, please, come on now. Come on. I remember the last time I took part in the Goodreads awards, either last year or the year before. Honestly, my sense of time is not the best sometimes. And I remember just going through the list, and I was just like, who the heck chose these? There were some books on there that were just clearly trash to me personally. I was just like, and even if they weren't trash, I was just like, I can name 10 other books that were better, and some of those books are popular, so they should have been on that list at least. And it was just a question of what the heck was going on here. Truly what the heck was going on. And I think a few people might even know where my heart is a lot of the time with this, because everyone who watches my videos and know where I am with books, I love reading all types of books, but I definitely have a heart for speaking on marginalized authors and marginalized communities when it comes to the literary world. And the nominations don't reflect any diversity. It's absolutely, it's disgusting to me. You could, nothing. It reflects nothing. And I'm just like, so in a year of publishing books, nothing here reflects the diversity in the publishing world. And the publishing world already has an issue with diversity already, but they just once again continue to perpetuate that nonsense. And I just can't stand by that. And so once again, trash. The entire thing is trash. Now, the next part of why the Goodreads Choice Awards is trash and why I refuse to partake going forward, the voting system. The voting system is absolutely interesting to me. It's very, very interesting to me. So the very, very first part about the voting system, which I don't like, is that voters aren't required to read the books. I'm not joking. They're not required. And what I mean by that is that there is no system to quality check who is voting. And so I remember the last time, obviously, I'm voting for books that I would want to win, right? But I remember at one point going, oh my goodness, did I mark this as finished reading on my Goodreads list? Because I'm very forgetful. Like, sometimes I think, or not even think, sometimes I reflect on how my apps don't actually reflect the books I read, because sometimes I just forget to mark that I'm reading or that I finished reading it or this and that. And so in my head, I went, oh, I wonder if I remembered to check that I had finished reading this book so that it would let me vote. But then I was just like, oh, I'm sure I did. And then I just checked it. Went to my Goodreads, my actual account. I didn't even mark that as started reading. It wasn't even in the progress section. It just, I had just forgotten it completely. But I had read the book. And I'm just like, how was I allowed to vote for that? How was I allowed to vote? You have no proof that I am voting for something which I actually know is good. And I think that's wrong. Like I said, before with when I was speaking about TikTok and book talk. If you have not actually partook in this, if you haven't been involved, then you can't speak to it because you have not experienced it. Your opinion is invalid. They just have a bunch of people who are voting without checking that they've read the book. And once again, this is what has given rise to the hype machine in the popularity contest, because an author's fan can have not read the book, but they want that author to win, so they vote for the book anyway. And that's allowed. That's absolutely allowed. The voting system is trash. Their voting system is absolutely trash. And I guess one of the last things about the Goodreads Choice Awards, which I always find kind of funny, because it's just like you guys can get one thing right, and that is the category placement. I'm sure everyone will have noticed this if you've ever voted in the Goodreads Choice Awards, or if you've ever even seen the list of the nominees and the winners. You'll just see some books in categories where they don't belong, and you're just sat there like, I'm sure I read that book. How is it a romance? How is it contemporary fiction? How is it a thriller? You just look at it and you're just like, do Goodreads even know what these books are about? It's like just blatant category misplacement, and you just sit there like, at this point, we're being punked. We're being played for fools. They're just playing in our faces at this point, guys. Goodreads is hilarious, and the entire awards is hilarious itself. Like, anyone who's still partaking in this, I'm just like, God bless you, but I can't in good conscience do that. And if I do it, I have to do it while laughing, because truly it's trash. It's trash. Everything about it is trash. Pure poop. Like, just absolute nonsense. Yeah, I can't give you a video about my choices for the Goodreads Awards, my choice didn't win, what I think about the winners. I can't do any of that for you. I'm so sorry, because I have no idea who's on the list of awards. I don't know the nominees. I don't know the winners. I just don't know. I just saw a bunch of people talking about it, and every time I saw the video, I was just like, skip. But I'm just like, you know what? I have to let you guys know why, and also encourage you guys to ditch Goodreads and also to not participate in the awards anymore. It's trash. I'm so sorry. I just had to do it. The only time I would encourage you, if you kind of feel bad, or you might feel unsure about not voting, is only if an author that you like, they somehow get nominated. In that case, go and vote. Go and vote. And I think that's the last time I voted, and I think that's the one reason I voted for. And it was either last year or the year before. Once again, my sense of time is terrible. Whichever year Bloodmark got released and got nominated, whichever year that was, I went there and I voted for Bloodmark, and it lost, and I was pissed because the winner of that category, not that you weren't good, but I remember I read the book and I gave it 3 stars. I'm just saying, I gave it 3 stars, which, guys, remember, a 3 star is okay, but Bloodmark was 5 stars. Why is a 3-star winner? Useless behavior. There were books in that category that I was just like, okay. But yeah, the Goodreads Choice Awards is absolutely trash, and I just can't. And I know a lot of people are just like, because I like to be balanced, right? You guys know I like to be balanced, and a lot of times I'd be like, okay, what can we do to make things better? I don't got none of that for Goodreads. What I got for you is to leave Goodreads. That's what I got for you. I don't got, because it'd be easy to say, oh, they can improve their user interface. They can do this. It's easy to say that, but they're not gonna listen to us. People have been begging Goodreads to improve for years, since it got bought out by Amazon. They're not gonna do anything. You want to know why? Because they're Amazon. They are literally a monopoly at this point. People are fighting back, but they're basically a monopoly at this point. They know that they will always have an audience. They will always have people using that app no matter what. Which is why all I can do right now is encourage you to stop. If you have to, you have to. And that's for things like the actual Amazon app and any of the other platforms. But I'm just like, there are better platforms than Goodreads, just for your sake, just for user experience sake, just to actually make your life better. You can leave Goodreads. Like, that is not necessary. Like I said, to help authors, that's the only exception I will give. But genuinely, there are better apps. 100 better apps. And that Choice Awards, once again, only to help authors. But go vote for them in another award show. Just go. They suck. They absolutely suck. I can't say anything. There's no balance about if they improve this, if they improve that. I just know they're not going to. So there's no point in wasting my time. All I can tell you guys is They suck. Leave. Obviously, I use Storygraph. I've heard good things about Fable. You guys can look around. There might be other apps as well. But GOODREADS, bin that. It is trash. It is trash. Like, I've been seeing people make videos about things we should leave in 2024 as we enter 2025. I might make one of those. But know for a fact, if I do make one of those, one of the top things on my list is going to be GOODREADS. I left it before 2024 came around. But just to make sure you people know, y'all got to leave GOODREADS in 2024. Leave that thing behind. It is trash. Where is that girl hopping up them stairs? Leave GOODREADS behind, yo. Leave it behind. Y'all don't got no business with GOODREADS. If you like quality, you should not be using GOODREADS. That's it for today. Obviously, mini rant there, but it is what it is. I will see you guys next time, hopefully on Storygraph. Bye!